Hello. Hey, we're looking at City of Omaha City Council agenda, Tuesday, July 29th, 2025 review. Let's begin. We just got the usual stuff, 1 through 5, but we get into 6 through 9, and that's liquor, and there's nothing on there that I see that's going to keep this from going. This is public hearing and vote today. Um, I'm not sure. I have never been to any of those locations, but Tasty Nagoon Kitchen. Oh, nope, I don't go to that one. That's 2112 North 30th Street. New location, new application. Don't go to that particular location. 4004 Ames doing business is NYC Deli and Liquor at 40th and Ames. Don't go there either. So, anyway, I don't know that much about any of those. And all I can say is they're public hearing, unless there's usually some opposition. It will have to be opposition in public because there's no opposition letters on record. And the chances of those not being approved, probably 1%. Moving along, number 10, replat. Number 11 is moving forth, and there should be no opposition against it. I don't see that forthcoming. This is in order to start moving forth on the design of the YMCA, what's been planned for it. So should move right along. And let's see, over here, number 12. Nope, 144th, no opposition. 144th, no opposition. 14, no opposition. So that should move along. So right now, we're going pretty good. One I'd like for you to take a look at. This is number 15. This is an ordinance to rezone property located at 5108 Reed Street from R2, which single family residence, to an R4 single family residential district. Now, here's where the reason why I wanted you to take a look at this. This is what happened on this. The planning board and the planning department recommended denial of a request for rezoning to R5, but approval of a request for rezoning to R4. Let's pull it up and see. Here's what. At the planning board meeting, which was held on June 4th, 2025, Freddie Ellis of 5108 Reed Street appeared before the board. Mr. Ellis stated that his goal is to subdivide this lot into two lots to build two. Now, okay, here we go. He's saying he wants to build two single-family homes in order to provide extra home in the community at an affordable price. Up comes Mr. Miss Kling, 7112 North 50th Avenue. She appeared before the board, stated that she is mainly concerned regarding the change in zoning. She stated that their entire neighborhood is R2 and R3, and that she is concerned about cutting the lot into two properties. Miss Kling stated that the property is overgrown. Now, this man only just bought this property and got it cleared and everything for several months. So now, where was your concern the other months that it sat vacant? Miss Kling stated she is also concerned with rezoning, that he will put up multifamily homes. He. You didn't say Mr. Ellis, you said he. Then comes up Miss Rupert, 7155 North 51st Street, appeared before the board. She briefly detailed her history in the neighborhood and then stated that her concern is the upkeep upkeep of the property and the possibility that something other than single-family homes could be built there if this zoning was changed. Because by putting it to 5, that would allow other homes to be built that were not single-family. Mrs. Ellis briefly discussed history in the area. He stated that with his license, he can only build single-family homes or duplexes. He stated that he cannot build apartment complexes. So here's what you got to look at, or here's what I looked at, okay? He stated his license, he can only build single-family homes or duplexes. Now, Mr. Pate is a member of the planning board. Now, you have to remember, he's already said that he does not want to build duplexes. He cannot build apartment complexes with the license that he has. Because when you have either A or B, there's a limitation whether you can build multiple. So in response here, this is what, I look at. He stated, Mr. Ellis stated that he will be, he has only owned the home for 2 months, and he has plans to have someone come out and cut the grass. And we're worried about the grass on this property. In response, Mr. Ellis confirmed that he has requested a change to his request from an R5 to an R4, which does not allow duplexes. The man said from the beginning he only wanted to build single-family homes. His bucket lot, it's big enough to put on there. In response, Mr. Ellis confirmed that Eric, who is the assistant director, appeared before the board on behalf of the planning department. He stated that the applicant is willing to go to R4. Also, and that the staff recommends denial of the rezoning from R2 to R5 and approval of the rezoning from R2 to R4. This Mr. Rosacker is another planning board member. Motioned for the denial of the rezoning from R2 to R5, however, and approval of the rezoning from R2 to R4. The motion carried 6-0. Now, I wasn't there that meeting, so I don't know all the players. But what is this? I'm not even going to go there. I'm going to let you figure out or think whatever you want to think in your interpretation of this. And the reason why I say that, you had just two people come and complain and what they thought the future was going to be. Special information. This site, 15,059 square feet in an area, is currently undeveloped. The site contains a dense stand of mature vegetation. The neighboring properties are developed with single-family residences. Now, how long did this set? Until Mr. Ellis came along, purchased it, and wanted to change to an R5, which would allow him to build, if he so had desired, something other than single-family homes. Although he already stated that's all he wanted. So I'm getting back to still my point. It's frustrating how who were these two people that went before this planning board and said, nope, it's overgrown with grass, and We are afraid that he's going to build something duplexes or something more than that. Although he stated his word wasn't good enough. And if he would have even attempted to, as he said, he didn't have the license, but even that, he wouldn't have been able to get the permit for it. And so, how come it is that two people could come in and make this change from whatever? However, here's the proposed lot. Um, right here. And it's just two people made a decision that they didn't want this in their neighborhood. They did not want this in their neighborhood. Moving along to 17, 3005 and 3006 Emmett Street. This will go forth. This is part of OHA's doing down on North 30th Street. Definitely going to move fast and pass. Now, here's where we get into the consent agendas. And you all know by now, consent agendas are usually where they can put a bunch of them in there together and get them passed with one vote. And a lot of times they slip little things in because it's going to move with one vote. Now, 18, 19, 20, no, actually, there's no problem on any of them. Because they're all going to. And remember, when TIF gets this far along, it's definitely going to pass. An ordinance tax increment financing, 5125 South 24th. Proposes a comprehensive rehabilitation of the currently vacant building to be as a business incubator for food processing businesses, with 16 indoor food vendor spaces available to lease and an indoor event space for weekend markets and similar. Now, I know some people are going to say, well, why can't we have something like that in North Omaha? You can. You could. And you're about to get something similar to it. When it's through the North Omaha Inland Port Authority. And we'll get into that. I got a whole session on that one. You got to tune in for that one. An ordinance to amend number 23, special leave. That's nothing. It's going to pass. An ordinance to approve the acceptance and authorized disbursement of more than one physical year for the grant. They don't turn down any money, regardless of what it's for, how it's used. So that's a go. Like I say, it's in the consent agenda. Number 25. This is the streetcar system, and we all know that that's a done deal. I'm not even going to bother to put it in here. I'm sure without even reading, this would be from our friend Rick Fulton. Sure enough, it's Rick. I urge you to reject the ordinance 44355 of approving bond sales for the streetcar project. As you know, I've said 100 times, the people of Omaha do not want the streetcar. However, the previous council members no doubt have heard from your constituents many times. This is a huge waste of money, on and on. Meanwhile, we have to pull the plug as soon as possible. Nope, that's not going to happen, Rick. Stopping now will be a lot less expensive than continuing the project. Don't know what else we have to do to show our displeasure. We sent Stothard packing by a large margin. I was surprised that almost all of the city council was returned, and I chalked that up to voter apathy concerning their city council representatives. At least I could comment on that, but I'm not. At least Corporate Pete is a backbencher now, and you all can ignore him. Too bad we got moron Denny Bagley now as council president. Do the council get daily marching orders from HDR, Ken Stensman of Kiewit, and Mutual of Omaha, James Blackledge. Why would anybody with an ounce of integrity bow down to the extreme wealthy corporations and tell the citizens to bugger off? I urge the council to deny any future expenditures for the streetcar that everybody in towns hates. I don't know if everybody hates it, but it's going to be moving forward. So, with that said, let's go back. It is in the consent, and it will. The next one is an agreement to provide for lease funding and so forth for the city riverfront. That's a done deal. When you hear that, it isn't even, worth going on. And as I said, if they put it into the consent agenda, unless someone asks for it to be moved, it's done. Done. And even then, it's still done. But anyway, every one of these are for bonds, 45 million. And we're going to have one of these days, we're going to have somebody come in and talk about how the bonds work for the city of Omaha. That's it. Consent agendas fly through. So that should move more quickly. The public hearings on agenda items 28 through 43 are today. If you wish to address the City Council regarding these items, please come to the microphone, indicate the agenda item you wish to address, identify yourself, address, who you represent, and if you are a proponent or opponent. Well, guess what? 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Well, let me stop right there first. Those are all nothing gonna go. Now we start getting into the resolutions, which are going to be the appointments recommended by Mayor John Ewing Jr. for various boards. And I have to kind of laugh because this just looks like some of the same old thing. So here we are right back into the game of the boards, who gets put on the boards. And what's the reason why I laugh is all this is the same game, just the name of the players have changed. That's it. Appointment number 33 to the Administrative Appeals Board. Number 34, Sanders Benson Business Improvement District. I don't know how many of you know Donald Sanders over in Benson. Mike Sanchez, Blackstone Business District. Melissa Obermeyer, Blackstone Business District. Andrew Davies, Blackstone Business District. 38, Lindsay Danker, Old Town Elkhorn Business District. Caroline McBride, Little Bohemian. Susan Koenig, 3-year term, Little Bohemian Business. April Jackson, North Saddle Creek Business Improvement Business District. Virginia McGill, Human Rights and Relations Board. And here's the one. Oh, at the end. What a joke. Now, people voted, did not put him in for city council. He sure thought he was going to. But people said, we had you once, we told you no. And when we told you no, this is what gets me. Every time you tell him no, the people say no. But then we're living in Nebraska, and it doesn't make any difference what the voters say, because if they can't get them in one way, they will take it to court to try to fight it to make another. But here we go, and that's the reason why I said this seems like the same game, just the name of the players have changed, because now, guess what? This is what Ben Gray is going to be reappointed to the City Council Mecca Board of Directors for another term. July 30th, 2025, expiring on July 29th, 2030. Now, I'm not going to jump them down. I'm not in favor of it, but who cares? Do you care? If you voted against him, you care. But will anybody get up and say anything? Because you know why? We have this, uh, well, it doesn't make any difference. It's going to happen. Yep, it's going to happen. But folks, you see, when you didn't care, you see what kind of administration we have federally and what kind of administration we got statewide. And now we're bringing it on into Omaha City Council. And it will be approved. And if you've ever gone to a Mecca board meeting, that's what you should do. Put it on your bucket list and go to one of their meetings. And folks, you don't understand how much goes on, how much money, and what kind of decisions are made by that Mecca board, and how much money of yours goes to the Mecca board, that they get to do anything they want to, really. All of this is a formality for the Mecca board. They don't have to take it. So now we're right down to 44. Now here's one. And I'm going to do a whole session on this particular one. Not for this particular meeting, because this final reading right here is to amend the Foods Inspection and Protection Codes. And, you know, going on right now, Native Omaha Day is starting Monday. And so there's been a lot of controversy in the community, North Omaha community, about the food trucks. And what I say to people, you know, it's kind of like the same thing that Trump is doing about the Epstein files. And he's using the ICE, and he's using Obama, and he's using Clinton and Biden and all that. It's called distraction. This is where, and I'm going to say this to you, North Omaha folks, particularly, you do a lot of on Facebook posting and all this and that. You do a lot of how should I say? I don't say even inside fighting, but you talk, and you don't get the facts. You don't realize what's happening to you. This is food inspection and protection. Now, the public hearing was July 22nd. Nobody was there. And here, this attached. This, let me show you something here. It talks about classifying and defining food establishments, permits for operations of food establishments. And then here, requiring all employees of food establishment to be properly trained in basic food sanitation. Requiring food protection employees of establishments to obtain and maintain a food safety certificate, which has been approved by the Douglas County Health Department. Which don't look at all of these requiring food safety certificates. Where do you go get the safety certificates? How do you get a safe? Do you even know? Also, providing for the inspection, examinations, detailed standards, authorizing the health authority and designating employees, DCHD, to administer, interpret, and enforce Chapter 11, and establishing fees for all services DCHD provides to food establishment. Okay. Here's the point, folks. If you go into these various things, how is this going to affect your business? Particularly if you are a small business. But how many of you, small businesses, north, south, east, or west, know what's happening here? Okay? Now, the reason why I'm not going to go into this is because of this. Dr. Lindsay Hughes from the health director of the Douglas County Health Department. I reach out today and thank you for the questions and discussions yesterday afternoon during the second reading of the changes to Chapter 11. We take your concerns very seriously and would like to have some time to develop alternatives to seek a balance to these concerns and community health and safety. We, in fact, began discussing some possibilities before leaving the building last night, and we have some legal work to do, flesh them out. We want our alternatives to be reasoned and thoughtful. However, the supervisor and the chief over the food safety program are on leave for the remainder of the week to handle some family matters. To assure that these solutions are well developed, I am humbly requesting your consideration of a 1 or 2 week delay to the third reading of the ordinance change, giving us time to put together and work with Tim Dolan on the language changes that may be needed based upon what is proposed. We fully recognize that changes to ordinance often require some back and forth, and we are committed to working with you to produce the best incomes of our community. We appreciate the work you do every day to assure Omaha is healthy and thriving, and will await your decision on the delay. This woman saved you, small businesses, but you know what? You won't get up and go look at what's being done here, because City Council member Amy Milton, this is a 61 page. She came forth and said, amendment of the whole requested by that. Do you know what that means? I hereby move that this ordinance 44358 on the July 22nd, 2025 agenda of the City Council be amended in the whole by deleting in its entirety and substituting in lieu thereof the attached ordinance. How many of you know what this is? Look at this. This all went away. This is what you've been, but this all goes away. And shouldn't that disturb you? Shouldn't that frighten you? Shouldn't you want to know what's going to happen? Now, when I read this, I was like, okay. As I said, I'm going to do just a session on this next week. This is all. Now, here's the reason why I said you should be concerned on small businesses. And I think some of this makes sense, but also carrying establishment or mobile, temporary or seasonal food based on operations of any other place in which the food or container supplies are kept, handled, prepared, packaged, and stored. Okay. Equipment shall mean all the stoves, ranges, and so forth. Food shall not mean any raw, got it. Food services, I got it. No problem. Health authority shall mean the health director of the health department or designated employees. Got that. Now, keep on. Well, you say, well, what are you upset about? And I'm not upset because it doesn't affect me. I don't have a restaurant I don't have. But guess what? All of you that have been on Facebook and boo-boo and hoo-hooing and all this, look at this. Mobile food establishment means an enclosed vehicle mounted food establishment is readily movable and returns to a licensed commissary daily for cleanup and services. Do all of you do that with your food trucks? I know some of you, and you're supposed to, but you and I know some of you don't do that. All right. And then something else you should notice. Going further down, sealed shall mean free from cracks and so forth. Here's seasonal event coordinator shall mean an individual responsible for the operations of a seasonal event in compliance with this chapter, including providing common facilities for and monitoring the event's seasonal food establishment. Seasonal event umbrella. Coordinator to host up to 20 food establishments at a fixed location and held no more than 1 day per week throughout the operating season. Now, keep on. That's not all. Single service, these various things right here. You say, well, that's not, oh, okay. And if it don't bother you, then well, I'm not going to let it bother me. But I think you might. Temporary event shall mean a single community event, Native Omaha Day, or celebration that occurs at a fixed location for a period not to exceed 14 consecutive days unless approved by the health director. Temporary coordinator, here again, she'll be the individual responsible for the operation. Temporary food establishment shall mean any food which operates at a fixed location for a period of time not to exceed 14 days in condition with. Guess what? You might have had a little problem the way you guys are sounding about this situation with food trucks. And it goes on. But like I said, I don't want to get into this until next week when we can break it down more and spend that whole time, because you folks were saved by the bell by this request, and the council has decided to grant the delay, and it will be postponed till August the 19th. And why? Well, there is no meeting on the 12th. So that ended up being a 2-week instead of a 1 week. Resolutions. Appointment by the mayor, John Ewing Jr. of Angel Starks to serve a 5-year term as a business operator of the North 24th Street Business Improvement District. And it will be a public hearing and vote today. I think Angel is a or I should say Miss Starks, um, is a great person to put on the board. Um, um, she's young. She's in fact, sometimes I call her, I think she's a workaholic. She's on the go. Great personality, has had businesses of her own. A fantastic young lady, and I definitely would be a proponent for her. Um, then on 46, I do not know Mr. Roger Porter Jr. Um, so I can't say anything there, but whether he's great or not, or whether he'd be best, but I think these two, there will be no problem. Those should pass as well. Um, then you get into 47. Now, what you guys have not been noticing, we've been having quite a few until you start watching the review. And I do want to say thank you because our previous city council review had over 400 views. Thank you. Now, if I could just inspire you to watch these and become more involved and get vocal. If you can't make it to the city council meeting, you can always do a letter of what you think, whether you're for it, against it, or whatever. And we don't even have to agree on it. It's the part that you become involved. But I have been noticing over the past 18 months since I've been doing this, how many cases are settled out of court and the dollar amount. For cases that are brought by people who have been in one way or another injured or so forth by the Omaha City Police. And that's what this one is. Entitled for damages and attorney fees as part of the settlement, which will dismiss this case with prejudice. Could be filed later. Has been settled in regards, and this is what it was about. Due to an accident with the vehicle being pursued by the Omaha Police Department, she suffered property damages, was injured, and forced into preterm labor. Well, there's two things about this. One, Omaha has become notorious anymore for, not pulling over. I don't know what the case in this. I'm not going to say whether the woman pulled over or not. But then there also has been more Omaha Police Department chases. And I have just, like I said, it's been amazing to me over these past 18 months that I've been reviewing these, of how many cases that we never, when I say we, the Omaha public, even realized how many of these cases are brought and they're settled out of court and how much money is paid. So all of those 45, 46, 47 done. 48, landmark designation. And this, definitely 100%. I don't live that far from here. This is a landmark designation of the Grand Theater located at 2920 North and 2922 North 16th. And at one time it was the Grand Theater for years. And they're talking about, I would say 40 years. It's been in just continuous deterioration. Mr. Butler purchased this and went before the board, and he was going to do all of this so-called work to bring this, and guess what? Still not done. Here is the owner. He seeks approval to rescind the Omaha Heritage local landmark designation for the Grand Theater. He did this back on Wednesday, December 11th, 2024, and it was recommended approval of the action. The landmark, and it goes on in the application. It goes on about all the damage and so forth. Back then, during a July 2024 storm, wind caused a significant portion of the interior walls to collapse. Code enforcement inspected the property on July 10th and deemed the property to be a safety hazard. I 1000% agree. An emergency demolition was ordered. The staff, preservation staff, visited the property, determined that there was not a significant amount integrity left in the structure to pursue a stay to the demolition. Amen. The city demolished the remainder of the exterior walls on July 16th. At the time of the designation, was it worthy? No. By fulfilling those standards. So I am happy to see this come forth. The whole thing needs to be torn down and gutted. And it's safety, and it's been that way for a long, long time. And I'm just saying, it's sad, but it needed to go. And so the approval is the recommendation for this. And it goes on, as you can see right here. This is what we live with in our neighborhood. And it shouldn't be. So I don't have any objection to that. I would love to see it gone immediately. Probably not going to make some people happy, but hey. And it's going to go. It's going to pass, and I'm happy for it to be passed. So moving along, 49. Yep. And then 50. Public hearing today. Public hearing. Now we move along to item 51 through 75 do not require a public hearing or city council consideration at the present meeting. So the West Roads, we all know that's going to move forth. It will be laid over to August 5th. Now there was this item, and I wondered why. This requires council members, a vote of 5 council members. Well, it should pass 7-0, but anyway, it does. And I was wondering why, and it's because of a statute. Jackson Street addition. Public hearing in the vote August 5th. That's going to be August 5th. Second reading the 29th, 55, 56, 57. All those will be on the 5th. Can't see anything there. North Stream to relocate is rezone the area 204th Q Street. Doop. Same thing there. That should move along. All of those, nothing. And we get to moving. First reading, July 29th. These will be coming up for a public hearing next week. Should be more. 56 in Francis Street. Now, this is one that's going to be interesting, and I think I want to be there on this one. It's laid over to August 5th to advertise. What this is, a Mental Health Association of Nebraska for a special use permit to allow transitional living in the R7 district with a request for reasonable accommodations. Where is this at? Located at 140 North 39th Street. And it's going to be interesting to see who shows up for that public hearing. Because, let me run this by you again. It's going to be located at North 140 North 39th Street. And here it is. Inspection, This, here's the area right here. This house right here. Davenport, this is the existing house, a driveway. You guys, you just stop and think. You have an idea. Okay. We represent the Mental Health Association of Nebraska. It's a nonprofit organization. These individuals will serve as the primary operators of the facility. Both individuals are executives of the association, and they are both located in Lincoln, Nebraska. Here is the purpose of the facility. Short and long-term overnight occupancy to unrelated individuals, many of whom have been recently incarcerated. Individuals would stay at the facility for an average of 60 to 90 days at a time. These individuals will all operate under an alternative to imprisonment program and will need supervision under the said program. These programs may range from pre-release to work release to probationary programs. Will give these individuals the opportunities to live with others in similar situations, allowing them to transition back into the community. Now, I just want to know, the association has also made efforts, to attend the Joslyn Castle Neighborhood Association meeting on April 14th and plans to meet with that group and several neighbors at another meeting in the month of May, because this letter was done back in May 12th. The association continues to work with that group to assist with community planning and host several community events need the facility. Now, I would think that when this comes forth, there would be a question, and it should be outlined. Did these people who want to put this there meet with the group, dates and time, and what community events near the facility has the association had any assembling to the community? So how many meetings did you have? Finally, the facility complies with the rest of the code. So it's going to be interesting to see. That's Joslyn area. Tax increments coming up. Done deal, done deal. I do like where, which is it? Item number 69, the building will have 5 floors of affordable mixed income apartments. And what I like about this is when it says affordable mixed income, it won't all be market rate and it won't all be affordable. It'll be a mixture, because then you give it the idea of belonging and not being just, oh, that's the affordable people, something, if you can afford it, it'd be based on that. 70 is the Chambers Court, and we're going to be talking about it more. So this is moved over to City Council to advise for advertise for public hearing, which will be the following week after that. And because there is no meeting on the 12th, we'll probably have the public hearing for the 19th. The Ames Industrial Park is the same, 1771. 72 is Little Bow Village. Again, this is mixed use tax increment, which is proposed to have apartments, and it'll be market rate. This is 155 new market rate apartment units, approximately 92,000 square feet, and they will have the TIF for $7,323,000 plus dollars. And this little bohemian is just taking off like wildfire. It's too bad I can't say the same for the 24th Street BID. North Omaha, Little Bow Historic Tax Increments, 868,000. Another one. I tell you, it's amazing. And the Little Bohemian came after the 24th Street BID. So I'm not going to make some people happy when I say that, but hey, it is what it is. The facts speak for themselves. And if you want to see something and see the growth, you need to go by there. It is outstanding of the units that they have put in that area and are planning to continue it. Number 74, that will be coming up. Public hearing is August the 5th. Third reading, August 19th. That'll be the vote. Okay, first reading, ordinance to approve and authorize an agreement between the Board of Regents on behalf of the university. And we all know anything that has to do with that is done deal. Although that's kind of costly, I guess, $20,000 administrative fee on a per test basis as needed by the Omaha Police Department. Wow. $20,000 an annual administrative fee on a per test basis. Then we have City of Omaha and the City of Kearney, the Keno, and that's it. But that was a lot. So I just want to say Tuesday's meeting should go pretty. I don't see anything too much that would delay it and take up too much time. So they should be out of there within the hour. Maybe a little bit longer, but I can't see it going much longer than that. All righty. So that's it. I hope that you found it worthwhile and interesting. And I will say to you, look forward to August. There will be no meeting on August the 12th. So there will be August the 5th, and then the next one will be the 19th. But in between, there are several items here which I will do a whole separate section on before August 5th. All right. Have a great day, evening, whatever your time is when you review this. And we'll see you at the next Omaha City Council agenda review. Thanks for being part of this. And hopefully you will continue and will become more involved in our city council, which is for the purpose of you knowing what's going on.